Hello everyone, my name is Michael McVeigh. I am one of the account managers here at C-Vision Technologies, and I'm going to go ahead and be taking you through a live web demonstration of our Maestro Recognition Server solution, a solution that is designed to convert all scanned image documents into a fully text-searchable PDF. So the first thing that you'll notice here is I have my user interface open, my Maestro user interface. And I've prepared some documents I have in a folder here, but the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do for the sake of the demonstration is revert to factory settings so we can see where we make our adjustments. So I'm going to go ahead and revert to factory defaults. Once that is done, we can go ahead and begin. And the first thing I'd like to point out is the job type. For the sake of the demonstration, we're going to go ahead and run in batch processing mode. But we could also run in watch folder mode if this is something that we'd like to have running automatically in the background. But again, for the sake of the demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and run in batch processing mode. So the first thing that I'm going to go ahead and do is select the documents I wish to process. Now I could drag an entire folder, subfolder, whatever the case may be. I do have some sample documents prepared right here. First thing I'd like to go ahead and point out is I have a couple different file types. I have a JPEG, a TIFF, and a PDF. So the first thing that I'm going to go ahead and do is take the entire folder and drag and drop right below. Once I go ahead and do so, this little window pops up and it'll allow me to do a couple things. The first thing that it will allow me to do is define my input and output folder where the documents will end up once the process is finished. For the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and leave them in the same location. This way we can go ahead and compare and contrast with each other. Another option that we do have here is we could go ahead and change the file types that are allowed. Once I go ahead and click change, you'll see some of those options. Right now I have the TIFF, PDF, and JPEG checked off because those are the file types I do have in my folder. But we do have the ability to convert bitmaps, GIFs, JP2s, J2Ks. You can see all the acceptable file formats right here. Finally, I do have an error folder here at the bottom. Any documents that don't get OCR'd the right way, or if anything gets bounced back, will automatically be routed to this error folder, which also resides right on my desktop. So now that we have everything in place, I'm going to go ahead and configure a couple settings. The first one is image processing. So the first setting I'd like to enable is the cleaning and despeckling feature. What this will do is clean up the little black dots that sometimes appear on a poor quality scan. Thanks to pre-processing, we can go ahead and clean up the document before we process it, which really produces the best output. If I go to PDF input processing, I'm going to go ahead and enable the rasterize feature, which will allow us to rebuild the PDF from the ground up, which really produces the best output file. If I ever have the need for some cropping, if I need to crop a certain zone, it will allow me to define that location right here. Another feature that we do have, which I'm definitely going to enable, is the automatically rotate pages to their readable orientation, which is right here. I know for a fact that I do have one particular document where the text is slanted. So once I go ahead and enable this, it will automatically rotate it to its readable orientation. We're going to go ahead and see how this plays out at the end of the demonstration. Maestro does give me the ability to invert color. This is something that doesn't get used too often, but we do have some clientele that works in a doctor's office or a hospital. They may sometimes receive an x-ray which does have some text on it, which may require the need for color inversion. It does give you that option here, but I don't have the need today, so I'll keep that off. If we go to the Output Options tab, you can see it gives us the ability to output to a couple of different PDF versions. We do have the latest and greatest shown here, 1.7, which is what we're going to go ahead and use. I do want to point out the PDFA feature, the archival feature. If you have a document that's going to be around laying around for a while, we do have full PDFA compliance, which is definitely reassuring. For the sake of this demo, I'm going to go ahead and use 1.7, the latest version. Next, we have our recognition tab, and this is exactly where we have the ability to OCR our documents. So I'm going to go ahead and include the OCR. This will give us the fully text searchable feature once I go ahead and highlight this box. Once I go ahead and include OCR, the options for OCR analysis mode will come into play. So there's a couple different options that you can run on: real-time, fast, accurate, or super accurate. Most of our clients run in either fast or accurate. They found that it does an extremely adequate job. The only time we ever really use super accurate is when we have a really funky document. What I mean by that is sometimes we have a horizontal text running on, or excuse me, vertical text running on a color background. Sometimes the text may be horizontal. If you're running color on color, you may want to use super accurate. The process will take a little bit longer, but anytime you encounter a kind of a strange document that has a lot going on to it, you may want to consider the super accurate feature. But again, most of our clients have found that fast and accurate really does a great job, so I'm going to go ahead and keep it on accurate. On the bottom right-hand side of the screen, you'll see our language dictionary. We now have over 118 languages available. Some of those are shown here. If I get into some advanced analysis, you'll see the options for ICR and barcode recognition. If I highlight the output options, it gives me the ability to produce an auxiliary data file, which is very convenient for me. If we look at some of the output formats, you'll see here plain text, XML, HTML, Microsoft Word, and Excel, which really only works if you have a table within your document. But more often than not, our clients would like to produce a Microsoft Word file, which will give me the option to do so right here. If you have to communicate with an FTP site for whatever reason, it'll give you the option to do so here. Some additional document features, document info. If you have to add an author, a title, subject, or keywords, you can do so here. If you have to add a key name or a value text, you can see the option here. Some viewer preferences below. And finally, right before we run our job, just a few more options right here. Headers, footers, stamps, watermarks. It'll give you the option to apply a watermark here. Finally, some security options. If there's any documents that are encrypted or if you need to provide a password, it'll allow you to do so here. And finally, now that we have all the options, all the settings that we'd like to enable for this particular job, I'm going to go ahead and click Run Job. So now that we've started the process, you'll see the start time right on the top, which is 11:52:56. This process should run very quickly. You'll see the finish time at the bottom once the process has ended. Now that the process has ended, you can see that it took less than 30 seconds. And now we could go ahead and pull up our before and after sample documents and see how they compare with one another. So again, I know that they reside right in my desktop. So if I just go right into my sample documents folder, just bear with me one moment. Wrong folder, sorry about that. But you can see here, the first thing I'd like to notice is some of the documents, once processed through our solution, they were reduced in size just a little bit. The first one I'd like to go ahead and pull up is our PDF. So I'm just going to go ahead and split screen these side by side. So you can see the original on my left-hand side and the process document right here on the right. As you can see, there was no image degradation whatsoever. It maintains full image integrity. On the left-hand side, I have my original. Unfortunately, the document has not been OCR'd. None of the text is text searchable, and there's really not much I can do with it. But if I look on my right-hand side, the first thing I want to point out is the text is now fully text searchable. We were able to capture all of the data on the document. And one of the things that I alluded to earlier is the automatically rotate pages to their readable orientation. On the left-hand side, you'll see that the text is a little bit slanted, but on the right-hand side, everything is now fully straight and in its readable orientation. And again, the document is now fully text searchable. I happen to know that the word experiment comes up in the document quite often. So if I type in experiment and click enter, it will take me right through the document, showing me exactly where it comes up. So this is just one example. This is our PDF. If I go back into my sample folder, I'd like to go ahead and pull up my TIFF image. I'm going to go ahead and split screen them one more time. Okay, again on the left-hand side, The document is not text searchable. There's not much that I can do with it. However, on the right-hand side, we were able to capture every single piece of data. The document is now fully text searchable. There is no image degradation. And if I want to know where the word office comes up, just for an example, I could go ahead and type in office. And again, it'll take me right through the document, showing me exactly where it shows up. So now that we've looked at a black and white sample, I'd like to go ahead and pull up a color sample. So I'm just going to go ahead and open my JPEG. I have the color document here. One more time, I'm going to go ahead and split screen these. On the left-hand side, the document is not text searchable. There's not much I can do with it. But again, on the right-hand side, we're able to capture the majority of the data, if not all of it. Again, there's no image degradation. And again, if I want to search for the word child, I can do so right here. So I type in child, and it will bring me right through the document, showing me exactly where it comes up in each paragraph. And again, I just want to remind you that this process took less than 30 seconds to process 3 documents. So as you can see, our Maestro solution will take any scanned image document and convert it into a fully text searchable PDF. Once it does this, the documents become much easier to email, transmit, and store. If you have the need to index, it'll allow you to search for certain words or phrases much more quickly. And overall, just creates a much more friendly document to work with. And that brings us to the conclusion. Thank you so much and have a great day. Thank you.